You have to make the buses run on time. That's a basic. A basic. You do. You have to make the buses run on time. It's great to have you in. State of Mind, Dan Yorke. You got to bear with me. On Mondays after the Giants lose, my state of mind is not good. And I don't think it's going to be a good fall, so I don't know what I'm going to do here. But, of course, if you're a Patriots fan, you're getting away with it. 3-0 versus our 0-3. And, all right, busy day today, as it always is on State of Mind. Kira Green is here. She is a parent in Providence who is one of the people leading the charge for some help on getting the kids home on time. You know, Mayor Taveras has got all these plans to run for statewide office, you know, the governor thing, but if you can't make the buses and the trains run on time, you got problems. Let's go to the rundown this evening. We got a lot going. Speaking of having problems, you got a little bit of a poo-poo problem, they think. It's not good. And I've got an even worse saga here. How they alert you to the problem is not good either, so they've got some work to do. We'll dig into that. Not the poop. Collision course in Washington. Yes, we've got, and Sheldon Whitehouse has said it again. He's used the word again. I'll explain. And a nice story. The prayer banner has been replaced, and everybody in Cranston feels good. All right, let's dig in. On a Monday night, oh, I hate it when this happens. Here's the latest on the big tank with some stuff in it that has everyone not feeling too good in their tummy. We have that.
This is the 11 million gallon tank that has tested positive for E. coli in West Warwick. Tim Baxter with Diving Services Incorporated will be going in to try and find the problem.
We're just looking for something that doesn't make sense there. We started at A, go through Z, and if we don't find anything wrong, at least they know they can cross it off the list.
Tim Brown with the Kent County Water Authority says 3 consecutive days of tests showing no contamination are needed before the boil water advisory is lifted.
We took samples Sunday, sometimes later today in the afternoon, and then of course we took samples this morning again, and they're going to the lab right now as we speak, and we'll take again and again and again.
Yes, and again and again and again. Okay, listen, this happens. We hate it when this happens, but it happens. Listen, a little bit of a tip for you. Those of you, Kent County and Potawatomi and Warwick, because you're getting the Kent County Water Authority water, make sure that you take all your filters once you're clear. You're not using the water unless you're boiling it, right? You got a minute to boil for a minute. Take all your filters out of the refrigerator and your little pitcher filters, and boom. And also, if you've got an outside filter, kind of like a carbon filter that you put in yourself, take that out too when you get the all clear alert so that you can, you know, flush the system out. You also want the chlorine to get into the system because I'm sure they're using a lot of that right away. I got those tips from Steve at Water Filter Company, a radio sponsor of mine, who offered that to the listeners earlier today. But there's a bigger picture story here, and that is that the communication on this is not too good. So after they tested last Tuesday, on Saturday they tested Tuesday, found a little chloroform problem. By Friday they still had one. Saturday the test is out, and on Sunday morning it comes back E. coli. So they call the health department, they get an approval for an alert and all that, and then they start sending out press releases and calling media. But on Sunday morning, you know, nobody's around. I mean, they're around, but it takes a while. And it's until late in the afternoon that you start to get some word on this. It's not good. So I asked this Tim Brown, who you saw on this news package, what happens? Well, here's what I asked him on the radio earlier today.
Right now, it would be the same process that we did, which would be the media blitz. We would contact all the media agencies that we know of and ask them to get the word out. We would also, again, if it was some type of an egregious that affected the public health, we would also go to the health department and have them use whatever avenues they have. And then, again, if it's something that may, I guess, be illegal, we would contact the police departments also.
Well, here's the thing. I had asked him prior. We kind of cut that off. My bad. I had asked him, what happens if we have some kind of tampering matter? Not just kind of a, you know, poo-poo matter, but a tampering matter. And that was his answer. You know what? The kids on campuses get alerts. There's 911 reverse calls coming from police departments. You think the customers of that authority and others could just get some kind of a, hey, by the way, since you're a customer, here's a phone call or an email or a text message that you've got a situation. Can we bring up to 2013? I know the pipes are old, but can we bring up to 2013 the information technology? They got to do a better job. All right, next matter. Where am I on my broadcast today? Fox News has this headline, foxnews.com, about the end game. This is going to be a showdown and a half this week in Washington over Obamacare. The Republicans, 230 to 189 last week, approved the continue to spend bill, but they stripped funding for Obamacare in it. It's a crash course. Here's the latest package on it.
Joint resolution is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Republicans in the House have already voted to fund everything except Obamacare, but President Obama says they won't get away with that.
We have come too far. We've overcome far darker threats than those. We will not negotiate over whether or not America should keep its word and meet its obligations.
If that's the case, then Republican Senator Ted Cruz says maybe it's time to chip away at Obamacare bit by bit.
I think the House should hold its ground and should begin passing smaller continuing resolutions, one department at a time. It should start with a continuing resolution focused on the military. Fund the military, send it over, and let's see if Harry Reid is willing to shut down the military just because he wants to force Obamacare on the American people.
But some Republicans are skeptical at the prospect of defunding Obamacare.
You know, and they ought to be. You know, this Senator Cruz is twisting the argument. Look, I would like to see Obamacare dismantled and defunded. I would. I think it's an albatross around our necks that we don't need. But you know what? You got to be careful about the way you go about this. And then you got the Senator Whitehouses of the world. Tim White, you heard this on the 6 o'clock news on Eyewitness News. You know, about the dynamics, and then he used what I think is the dirty word.
I hope that we will work it out, but in many respects, we're bystanders in the Senate right now. This is going to be determined by what goes on in the House, and frankly, it's going to be determined between the Speaker and his extremists. And is he willing to call up a clean measure for a vote that will pass like that? Or is he worried that they will punish him, try to run him out as Speaker or whatever? And it's very much in his hands at this point.
You know, it's very much in your hands, Sheldon, when you keep calling these people who have very strong conservative views extremists. That polarizing language isn't helping. Now look, it's a collision course, there's no doubt. And I'm not so sure the Republicans are being too wise, the conservative ones anyway. There's a 2014 and 2016 election where you could unwind Obamacare if you had the political following, will, and strategy to get it done. But Sheldon, just keep calling them extremists. Just keep doing that. Just keep doing that. And let's see if we get any kind of unification in Washington to actually do any problem solving. Just keep calling them extremists. All right, let's move on to a more gentle conversation. It wasn't so gentle back when it broke. Remember when the Cranston West prayer banner controversy hit and the young atheists protested the words, what was in there? It was, oh, Heavenly Father, and amen, and you couldn't have that. Well, do we have a picture of the old, I think we do. We have a picture of the old banner. Yeah, although that's the new banner. Do we have the old, well, whatever. This is the new banner. So the class of 1963 and its 50th reunion pulled together a committee, and they came up with a solution. And it's really nice. Here, let me read that. Laura, pop that back up. The one on the left says, we are, and it spells Falcons down the left, and it says foster for F, an atmosphere of goodwill and respect. Affirm our efforts to conduct ourselves with honor. Learn from our achievements and mistakes. Choose wisely the paths taken and friends made. Overcome prejudice and embrace diversity. Nurture ourselves, families, friends, and communities. And strive for excellence in all our future endeavors. And there's a school creed on the right. Problem is they misspelled a word or two there, I understand. So they got to take it down and put it back up. But it's a nice story of coming together and you know, there are people who are, 50 years friends who came from all over the country to bring a solution. And that's nice when that happens. Don't call them extremists, Sheldon. Oh, just drives me crazy. When we return, you got to make the buses run on time. We got a guest here who's going to say it better than I will. Stay with us. You got to stop calling them extremists, Sheldon. No, I mean, it's just I can't get over it. But I will, because Kira won't let me get away with anything here. She already gave me what for on the radio, and I wish I had a long story or a long time to tell you the story, but she's pretty good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
You're a concerned mom.
Yes.
Who is trying to right the wrongs of the transportation system.
Yeah.
And wait till you hear this story. But first, here's a little bit of sound from last week's coverage, Eyewitness News, and one of the moms that was at a big meeting that Kira and others helped to get together.
My child has been coming for the past 3 years on the bus. This year, by far, is the worst. When I'm waiting, or the sitter is waiting for a half an hour to an hour for the bus to come, they are behind over 45 minutes each and every day.
That is not good.
No, it's not.
That's not good. But that's just one mom telling a story from that meeting that you helped to get together, which was sponsored by an event that you tell a hell of a play-by-play about. So one day last week or so,
past Friday, not this
couple
Friday,
Fridays
ago.
Tell us what happened. Every parent's nightmare here.
Well, the bus has been erratic since the beginning of school, not knowing when it's going to pick up the kids, not knowing when it's going to drop off. So parents have been complaining to
on the east side of Providence, we should tell you.
Well, yeah, but also all over the city.
Okay.
You know, lots of schools draw from all over the city. So we have, as parents, we talk and we've heard about problems. But yes, I live on the east side, and this particular Friday, the bus was extremely late. At this point, over 45 minutes late. So I got in my car and I started driving around looking for the bus. I asked my neighbor to wait at the bus stop for my child in case I missed it when I was looking for the bus, and told her that I would get her kids off the bus if I could, but I probably wouldn't be able to. But I knew that I had to find it. At the time I was looking, I bumped into other parents at different bus stops, and they were calling Transportation Department, and the Transportation Department was telling them they didn't know where the bus was. So that's really what caused the major concern. It's one thing to have a bus late, but another thing to literally be told by someone in the Transportation Department, we have lost contact, we don't know where the bus is. So yes, we were worried.
So you go on this search mission.
Yep, just all around the neighborhood.
Now, did you see the bus going the wrong way?
Actually, someone walking their dog did.
On what road?
They saw that they were on Wayland Avenue, which is 1 block over from Elm Grove, and saw the tail end of the bus going the wrong way.
On Elm Grove?
Yes.
Okay, so we're on the east side here. Are you following all this? And Kira, you know, semi-frantic, frantic, almost frantic, controlled frantic? What kind of frantic?
Angry. Not frantic.
Angry.
Angry.
I get it.
Yeah,
and
not frantic.
So you're out there surveillance, and finally, you find the bus.
I do.
Tell us that story.
Well, it had...
Or that part of the story.
Well, it had turned around going the right direction now, so it was actually headed on the bus route, but again, an hour late. And I saw the bus on the side of the road, no lights on, just sitting there. So I pulled behind the bus, beat my horn, went up to the bus, banged on the door. The bus driver opened the door, and I said, "What's going on?" And he told me he was lost, and he had no GPS. And later I found out that the batteries in his cell phone were out.
Was he, you know, head over the steering wheel crying? Was he pounding it? Was he looking? What was he? What was going on?
Well, I mean, I quickly looked at him, but then I looked at the kids. So I immediately, my face went to the kids who looked scared. I went back to him, and he just seemed out of it, frankly. Not really anything. I don't even know how to describe him.
Not too communicative?
He didn't really speak much, no. He didn't give me much information. Most of the information I got were from the children after he had left.
All right. And so you were able to bring your child off the bus?
Yes. I went onto the bus, and I was actually on the top of the bus, the top of the stairs, and I asked to have my daughter, and they gave me my daughter, and I said I need to take my neighbor's children, and they gave me the neighbor's children, which I was surprised about. Got off the bus, was standing on the sidewalk. The kids were kind of sitting behind me. The bus monitor came down, and all these other kids started following her. And I started questioning her, and she wasn't speaking to me very well either. She wasn't necessarily answering my questions. She was looking at a clipboard, and I started pointing to it and asking her, check off the kids that I took.
Did she speak English?
I don't know. It would be questionable. She had a hard time communicating.
Okay.
That's where I'll leave it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to question her ability to speak. I just don't think she spoke well.
All right. So close the story off for me.
Well, the story is I really didn't know how bad things were when I took those children and saw some other kids walking away. I tried to address issues, but I got my kids in the car. I started driving away, and the kids started telling me the story of what they'd been through. And, you know, for an adult to be on a lost bus is one thing, but for children who rely on adults and trust adults, it's another. And
you were saying this is your youngest of 3.
She's 7, yes.
And you're thinking, she's fine, but the truth is she's not fine.
No, she's not, because the bus continues to pull over multiple times during the whole trip, and the bus driver's not telling them anything. So the older kids started realizing this isn't right, and the younger kids really just got scared. So this bus ended up 1 block north of where I got on, with the older kids demanding to get off because the bus driver again told them he didn't know where he was going.
That's bad. Has it gotten better in a week's time?
No, I would say it has not.
All right.
And I have other stories to tell you.
Well, I don't know how many stories we're going to get, but we certainly got to talk about the solutions here, because Kira and some of her new friends have tried to come up with them. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Welcome back to State of Mind. I'll tell you, Kira's is not good. Kira Green is a parent in Providence. Her kid was on that bus that got away 10 days or so on the east side, and you and some parents have really grabbed the bull by the horns. You and a friend, Ms. Meeks.
Michelle Meeks.
Michelle Meeks and others. She actually rented the JCC
she did.
and brought a parent meeting together. What happened there?
Well, she did a great job, and I must point out that the parents involved are parents from all over the city, not just parents whose children were on that bus, because we put a Facebook page together. And through that Facebook page, we've gotten stories from all over the city, from all different types of people, with all different types of problems.
Did we give that information? Do we have that Facebook page? Did we?
I hope so.
Well, if we don't,
it's Providence Parents Concerned About School Buses.
There you go. Providence Parents Concerned About School Buses.
Yes.
Perfect.
And so for the meeting, we did have parents from all over the city with kids from all different ages talking about how their children have been late for school. We've also gotten information from Facebook about parents whose children have missed school because the buses have left 15 minutes early than they were supposed to be there, and the parents don't have transportation. So kids are missing school, kids are late to school, there's no accountability coming from the bus company, and really who's ultimately responsible is the city of Providence and the school department.
Sure.
So we did have the mayor at the meeting, and the mayor's director of communications, his name is David Ortiz. And I have to be honest with you, the only person who really broke through the crowd was the school board president, who finally spoke after none of these other officials said anything meaningful. And what the school board president said was, you are right, this is not okay, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. But prior to him speaking, we had David Ortiz remind us multiple times that we asked him to be there, and he didn't appreciate being yelled at. And I can tell you there were upset parents, but no one was yelling at him specifically. And it was upsetting as a parent to see this person who was a city official not really understand why we're upset.
And David, by the way, who I am familiar with, is the communications guy for the mayor. When the communications guy doesn't understand the nature of the parental angry communications, David, you got to learn to suck it up a little bit. Oh, my goodness. Where are we going here? And what do you think you're going to be able to accomplish?
Okay, well, we're digging deep and we're getting lots of information. One of the things that we found out was that there's something in the contract with the bus company which has disallowed Providence to get multiple bids. So First Student has had a monopoly on this contract. It was extended a few years ago. Sam Zurier, who's a councilman in one of the wards on the east side, is drafting a resolution to open up the bidding process. So we've already accomplished that, so we're excited about that.
Good for you.
The second thing we're doing is holding the school district and the city accountable by creating a Facebook page which logs all of the questions. One of the most interesting things that we've discovered is this report. It was done in January of 2013. It's called the Student Transportation Services Assessment. And this report...
That's a lot of paperwork to be running around with a guy going wrong way on Elm Grove.
Well, the reason I bring this report and the reason I'm here is that there's 51 pages about how, the city of Providence can save money by merging buses and cutting bus routes and changing bell times, but there's nothing in there about how it impacts families. And that's the bottom line here, and that's why we're coming together. There's parents who can't get jobs because their kids are being let out at 1 o'clock on Fridays.
Okay.
And it's just unacceptable because the city needs families and we need support.
You know, as I said to you in a rundown a couple of nights ago, all you got to do is mess with the kids.
Right.
Because then the parents come running.
But they don't have a voice.
I understand that. But, you know, the bigger picture conversation is I love this energy and I love this solution-seeking process by parents. I wish they were as focused on all the things that impact their tax dollar, but I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth when I say it's great to see citizens who are stepping up and doing their thing. In 30 seconds or less, tell me what the moral of the story is now. I don't think this is going to be your last visit here, you and your comrades, but what's the moral of the story? The
moral of the story is that we want to keep the city and the school department accountable for decisions that are made that don't help families and kids in this city. We want busing is just an example of this. So busing is a basic, simple service, and if they can't get kids to school on time and they can't get them home on time, we've got big problems.
All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your work, and we'll follow up. Your State of Mind when we come back. On Your State of Mind, an email reaction to Friday's guest, Saul Kaplan. Saul was here talking about that business innovation factory that he had. Lennon Warwick writes, the last guest you had on did not explain one thing that his organization actually accomplishes. No examples, no clear explanation, just spin and senseless verbiage. Dude, that is entrepreneurial talk, man. You got to get with the ball game. And then this from Len. My wife wonders why you wear the same or same color shirt every night. Hey. I've got like 30 new shirts for this show. What you need, I can't believe it. What you need to do is go to the website, FoxProvidence/myRITV, and you'll see all the shirts. It's different every night, Len. 228-1886 or stateofmind@myRITV.com. Feedback, your state of mind is as important as mine, sort of. Dan Yorke, see you tomorrow at 7:30 on myRITV. Bye.